Jones gives it to Corey Kiner, charges straight up the middle, and runs into the end zone, standing up, giving him 100 yards and giving the Bearcats a 16-7 lead. Newman has the ball, takes a pass toward the corner, does it again, passes to Bandego. Aziz outside the arc. Now Lukosius curls off the screen, shoots a three, makes it. He made it. 3 seconds to go. The Bearcats up by 1. San Francisco launches from center court. No good. Simas Lukosius.
His 5th plate appearance tonight. He swings and hits it high and deep to left field. Goodbye, home run. Carrington Cross. A 3-run shot. And it's now 7-3 Cincinnati.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the GoBeercats podcast, part of the Catskeller Social Club and member of the College Huddle community. I'm Brandon. That's Darin, back from his move, now bringing this show to you from across 2 different time zones. If that's not making it, I certainly don't know what is, Darin. Welcome back to the show, good sir.
Thank you. Yeah, it really should still be across just one time zone because Nashville in Central ain't it. It gets right now. It gets light at like 5:30, like the sun is up. It's almost no different than living home. So I think that's what you get though when you're on the edge of time zones. So, but I'd rather annex back into Eastern.
I hear you. Now, there was I forget who suggested it in the Discord, but someone said that you needed to assert your dominance in the SEC country right away and get like a 90-foot inflatable Bearcat. Is that up in the yard yet, or is that something you're going to wait till football season to put up?
No, I was when we took a tour down here, I had noticed how a lot of people had a lot of college signs, like either they put like a little guard fabric or just the wooden signs. But what I really noticed and what caught my eye are like the garden stones. So I'm like, my current hyperfixation is eventually pulling the trigger on a UC garden stone and putting it on our front step. Hopefully we don't trip over it and forget it's there. But just to kind of show them about what we're about. But they'll just surprise say they think it's Chick-fil-A because that's usually what we get when people.
We're gonna get into Chick-fil-A here in a little bit. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. The purpose of this episode, I guess, if we're filling in the listeners here, the last 4 weeks, the whole month of June, we spent on a Big 12 road trip, getting to know the 4 new schools. Arizona State, Arizona, Utah, and Colorado. We found 4 really good podcast partners to break us in and sort of give us the rundown of what those fan bases are like and what their expectations are of the season. And while we did that, we really didn't talk about UC at all for the month of June. And I feel as though, unlike, how it might have felt like 10 years ago, there is no off season, Darin. There's stuff happening year round. And what we're going to do this episode is kind of circle back to that because there's a lot of stuff that maybe didn't get talked about enough, or we certainly didn't talk about it. So we're going to jump into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's kind of just part of being a part of the P4 now, I guess, being part of the elites, is having the ability to, have news consistently.
True. I like that. That outlook. Before we get into it, Darin, we know how the show works. We gotta talk a little bit about beers. Hopefully, you're drinking something. You were kind of in the middle of the move last week, so you didn't get to join us for the Colorado episode. You were sorely missed. I don't know if you got to catch the episode, but I did sort of pitch you as the optimistic one of the podcast now. So they were kind of sad that you weren't on here, but it was a good time. So are you drinking anything here as we get started on this what we missed episode?
Unfortunately, I am drinking something. Unfortunately, it's not a beer. I'm just going with the prebiotic sodas again, the Poppy, the lemonade flavor, strawberry lemonade flavor. I drank the last of my imports, my Cincinnati imports, just kind of the other week, just to kind of take the edge off of back in boxes.
Heck yeah.
So I had the rest of that peach beer. Now, my brother and his wife are coming down for the weekend already. So maybe I can get him to grab some state contraband and bring down some some tasty NIL beers or some other things like that. A few cans of Skyline, smuggled across state lines.
There you go. Very, very nice. I mowed earlier. It's like a beautiful 78, 79 degree day here in Cincinnati in July. I don't know what's happening, but I could take it year round. So something a little refreshing here. Urban Artifact, strawberries and cream, and this dumpster panda on the can really sold it for me. So that's what I'm sipping on here as we get caught up on all happenings across. Shoot, 5,
everything.
6 here, everything.
Yeah, is that a sour? Is that like an ale?
Yeah, American fruit tart.
Oh, nice.
It's definitely not like tongue buckling or it doesn't like hinge your jaw. Strawberries and cream, that's pretty approachable for a sour.
I'm confident that the strawberries comes across. Does the cream come across?
Not as much as I would like, but it's there on the tail end. Definitely strawberry throughout, but the creaminess. I think maybe the creaminess kind of like cuts the sour though. So, I don't know how that would work, but that seems like a logical explanation. Good all around though. Very refreshing. Perfect for what I needed here this evening. Let's. Well, I know we want to lead off talking about basketball here. Before that, we kind of got to talk about a new partnership that we're working with here. Now, the glare. Let me lean in here.
There it is.
Got a golf ball smoking a cigar, bogeys and stogies here on the hat. If that doesn't explain my golf game, nothing else does. But this is from our new partners here at Shank It Golf. So if you are looking at our Instagram, or I think I shared it in the Discord as well, and I'm gonna after this episode, I'm gonna spread it out to Facebook and Twitter. But we kind of partnered with them. Yeah, you'll see some more content featuring some of their gear that we got and some of the things that they got going on. And if you are interested in some flashy new from some golf gear, not necessarily just your run of the mill like fresh white hat or plain blue polo, you want to be a little flashier on the course, they certainly have some things for you. And if you use the link that's going to be in the show notes, it gets you 10% off. So pretty cool. So look out for more of that stuff. And maybe you might get a reel or something with my terrible golf swing or some of my 3 putts, or me blading across the green when I'm trying to chip. It'll be fun. I might entertain the people that way sometimes here, Darin.
Yeah, or check out some courses down here, seeing what their golf's about. The sense I'm getting is that a lot of the munis are not well taken care of. So I'm about to do that country club life if I want some well taken care of greens. Just gotta find the right one that's at least close to my price range, But we'll see.
Very nice, very nice. Let's get into it, Darin. We got so much to do here. Lead us off. What are we hitting first on everything that we missed or we need to get caught up on?
We're going very out of season here, but we're going to return to the court and look at what's going on in basketball for the Bearcats. Starting off, the basketball tournament is coming to Fifth Third. This comes off the heels of this company has branched out to other sports. They started doing soccer. Second season big tournament for that for year 2. So they're pretty much kind of dominating the summer sphere and doing soccer, then basketball. So basketball's coming up. We get to be one of the regional hosts. I didn't really look too much into when we talked about the first time what went to that decision, but I have to imagine with some of the enthusiasm we all showed last summer, really following that journey for Nasty Natty. So I'm really excited to watch it again. It was a nice little, just scratching that itch for college ball a little bit. Just a nice fun week, if you go far. So
yeah, I mean, most Bearcats fans, maybe when this thing started way back in the day, I don't know how many years it's been now, 10, 9, something like that, maybe. We probably didn't know a whole lot about it, or after last season, I think every Bearcat fan knows about the TBT. Nice little run we went on there in July. Did we make it to the Elite Eight of the tournament? I think we won.
We pushed pretty deep. Yeah, we won. I think the region, our part got up.
Yeah, we won the region. Then we went up to Dayton. And I forget who they lost to. But it was a great time. I mean, seeing Cumberland and Jake Evans back on the court together. I haven't even caught up on all of the roster that they have, but I know I'm pretty sure Trey Scott is back. I think he only got to play one game last year because he had like a back injury. I think he played in that Dayton game, like the Dayton, whatever the game was up there. But I don't think he had any more before that. So
yeah, I mean, there's a few guys who were flirting with going overseas. So you had to pull out the last second if you were close to getting a contract. But yeah, no, it's we've been building. We got and you tend to mix guys who are somewhat affiliated, even if they aren't with they weren't Bearcats necessarily, they're Bearcat adjacent or city adjacent. I know DeBerry is playing. Nazir Brooks is that was back. Yeah. That's just. I mean, we went pretty far. Octavius Ellis is coming back.
That was another one.
That was a huge one. It's been good. The Nasty Eddie Twitter account's really been kind of stepping up and riding the waves on that a little bit. Like you said, Trey Scott is back. So it's going to be exciting. Hopefully we can continue to do some damage this year.
Yes, and then I don't know if everyone saw this, but Trevor Moore, who was on the Bearcats like 2018 with Kane Broom and Mamadou, Justin Jennifer, all those guys, Jaron Cumberland. Trevor Moore, he is on the roster for the team that the Bearcats play first, about $1 billion. So that'll be a little wrinkle there, some Bearcat on Bearcat action.
Yeah. I wonder if we couldn't throw him enough cash there, maybe, or just likes the guys he's playing with. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that's working. I don't know. It should be fun. I am going to try to be boots on the ground there. The Catskiller Social Club has submitted a file to be a media to get a media pass. I've done that before. I think 2 years ago when it was still at Cincy Center. It was a pretty good time. So if that gets approved and I have nothing else that evening, I will try to be live and in person covering for Bearcats fans.
Love it. See if you can pull one of the Slangin guys out of retirement.
Yeah.
See if they want to.
Yeah. I'll have to see what they're doing. They're I don't know we gotta get them back on the Catskiller train here. I don't know. I'll reach out to them, see if they have something available or one of our guys. I'm sure there'll be plenty of Bearcats fans there either way.
Yeah, Bearcat bunch. It's always a good chat, good hang. Keeps the social media flowing,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, other than that, I hope. I also hope, as being the gambling arm of this podcast, Darin. In last year when the TBT was going on, the first, I don't know, maybe whenever we played Zip 'em Up, I know whatever round that was, the second or third. Yeah. I was in Michigan for a bachelor party. And you could bet on TBT games in Michigan, but you couldn't in Ohio. So we had a lot of fun, especially when we all put in, Nasty Natty money line, and we'd all been partaking for all day, and we're at this bar and we're watching it on our phones because they don't have ESPN Plus or whatever at the bar. So things got a little rowdy that night, and that was a good time. So hopefully we can match that energy this year.
Yeah, to someone now, you guys were obviously partaking in some, GoBeercats activities. Mm-hmm. Who let it get to them and put down maybe a little too much and then end up lucking out that night?
That's, I don't know, because we all agreed. We were debating. No, I think what we did was we all pooled our money.
Okay,
is what we did. I think we all put in like I don't know, like $25 or something.
Yeah.
And then we just did it from one account. I think I'm pretty sure that's how we did it. So I don't remember anyone giving more than what they should have. Now, if they were doing something on their phone, over in the corner, I can't speak to that. But that's just how it was. I think we all pulled it and put it in one account. And then what's their name? I'm sorry, I got on a Twitter live spaces and I came in real hot and real excited with the that was a mistake. I should have stayed off the phone that night.
I was there too. I was walking the dog when the spaces were going on.
Yeah. Oops. Try to be better this time. Anything else on TBT? I know the Big 12, to bring it back to UC completely. UC, the Big 12 basketball pairings came out just last week.
Yeah.
And we got a peek at at least who will be here in Fifth Third and where the Bearcats have to travel this upcoming season. So I know I jumped on and I tried to put some content on the website about it. So I think we got a pretty good draw this year.
Yeah. I think what people were a little disappointed about, no Arizona trips. I think that had people a little upset. I mean, I'm not really much of a road tripper anyway for most of my sporting hobbies. But still, I mean, I'm sad for the fans who like to travel and, want to represent at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I wonder how. I know getting a ticket at Kansas is pretty next to impossible. I wonder if Arizona is similar to that, or if Bearcats fans would have better luck going out there. But we only have them in Kansas at home this year, so I guess they'll have to wait until a future season to try to catch them away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we talked much when we had them on about their attendance numbers, because it was just kind of a given that basketball school, they packed the stadium. So but hey, as parents come out next year and hopefully that switches around, you can kind of prep early and get your hat in a ring for some tickets.
Yeah, I mean, this year I think we all have really high expectations with the roster that Wes Miller and crew has put together. Yeah. Getting two of the best teams only at home. If you're looking at already here in July trying to put a resume together for next March, those two at home only is huge. If you're gonna beat one or two of those teams, Texas Tech comes to Clifton for the first time ever. That is a kind of a cool little nugget there. And then I also like our away only draw is pretty good. I mean, Houston and Iowa State, brutal. I'm sad that we only get to play Houston one time, because I want to try to play them twice, because we owe them a loss, and we're getting there. So I would have liked to have two opportunities there, home and away. But UCF, Colorado, and Oklahoma State, I would pick it those three teams to be towards the bottom of the league. UCF maybe the highest one out of those two, honestly, right now, because of some of the talent that they've brought in. I mean, the guys last week at Colorado said they wouldn't be surprised if they lose every game next season.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like that, because you get some of the weaker opponents away. So if you can get those wins, road wins in the Big 12 look good, no matter who they are, really. So yeah. I really like that.
I mean, because you still, I mean, Houston's still a nice, tall road win. It sucks that UCF is only away, because we're kind of developing that rivalry.
Yeah, well, we beat them twice last year, right? I mean, I would like to get another win.
You never know. This college sports, you can predict one thing and something totally different could happen, and a meteor could fall from the sky or something like that, destroy. Who knows? That's true. Get ridiculous there. But yeah, I mean, looking back at it, I'm okay with it. West Virginia home and away, Utah home and away, Kansas State.
Utah bringing the Madsen brothers back,
right? Well, speaking of former players, Mikey going to UCF too. You know,
he went to UCF.
Yeah, he went to UCF now because remember he was at Utah before that.
Yeah, I thought he went. I thought he went where? I thought he went to UAB.
It says he was going to the UCF.
Oh, wow, that's
should be in the latest chat there. Yeah.
Oh, in the Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the? No way. Commit after Memphis departed. I think this is a different Mikey Williams.
Oh, is that a different one? Oh, okay. I kind of missed it. Maybe I don't have any confused. But.
Yeah, this dude, this Mikey Williams is from Memphis.
Oh, cool. All I saw was the tweet come in and people making faces. I was really strayed by someone.
Okay, yeah, that would have been really disappointing.
I was gonna say, yeah, should he be gone by now? Like, because I made the remark that the guy needs to graduate and get a job, so because he bounced around.
Yeah, yeah, huh? I don't see him on. I don't know. This is getting stupid.
We'll carry on then, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Good. I was like, man, I'm gonna have to lose a lot of respect for him all of a sudden. But yeah, so I really like the men's home and away pairings. We got the women's as well. No TCU at home. Haley Van Lith, the top name there for TCU after transferring on LSU. The Kansas State, I would probably pick to be the women's favorite this year, just because they bring back their star center who is 6'6".
You can't coach size in women's basketball either.
So so we got them in a home and away, so that would be a really cool game to go see. They have. I mean, there's men and women's. There's a ton of talent in this conference. So you can't really go wrong if you're trying to go see the women's here. Colorado, I mean, they were a top 5 team that we played last year. And was that a holiday tournament or something? I remember a lot of people like tuned into it, and then we were like, I think we're down. We got destroyed, and we're like, let's get back to.
I think so. We kind of passively watched, but
yeah. But I like the men's especially. I love our pairings, and I'm super excited to get basketball started here. Although I was listening, like I told you, I was listening to Dan Hoard do an interview on 365 Sports or something, and I am starting to get pumped for football as well. I don't want to jump the gun because we'll talk about football next, but I'm starting to get excited for football.
Yeah, finally on basketball, just a glimpse. Dan Hoard was doing. I guess they're doing a Let's Rain podcast. Steve Logan was the first guest. I got to watch some of that. I didn't get to finish all of it, but it was, from what I heard, it was enjoyable. Steve is always happy to talk and chat about the good old days. Some stories you know, some stories you don't. Have to go back and listen again and finish. But I liked what I heard so far. Now, I don't know if that is going to be strictly basketball going forward, or if it's just going to be like general UT legends. Or
that's a good question. I listened to it. I have to check to see if I finished it. I remember I was listening to it while I was making breakfast one morning. I feel as though I heard him say just former Bearcats players and people around the programs. I don't know if he said basketball specifically.
Okay,
that's a good question. Like, will it be though? I don't know, because like Let's Rain podcast. It doesn't Rain. That's like the NIL collaborative is across all sports. So I would think it'd be all sports.
Yeah. Well, and plus like those. Well, we're also doing the strong shall reign for the football team. So that's true. The mantra. Or collected, and who knows how long that's going to stay, if that's going to be a year-to-year thing, or if that's just part of the program now, or programs.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's working. Like,
yeah,
I don't dislike it.
On the
marketing terms. So
on the Logan interview, I had never heard the story of his first day at practice. He said he showed up 15 minutes early, and he was 45 minutes late, and he got kicked off the team day one. That was a pretty good story, hearing that. And I'd heard his recruiting story before. That's a good listen as well. But yeah, I think I might have had to bow out after that. I gotta go back and listen to it, because Steve Logan's my favorite UC basketball player of all time. So definitely I tune in whenever he's talking about Bearcats basketball. So I definitely have to finish that. What I was wondering though, I mean, I like the stories and like the interviews of former Bearcats basketball specifically has been like Alex Meacham's thing.
yeah.
So like this is kind of like encroaching in on that territory. He hadn't said anything about it, but I was kind of wondering if he felt a certain type of way about it. But if they expand to like football and different sports, it wouldn't be that much. But I did kind of wonder about that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not too immersed in the drama and stuff. But I've heard he's kind of like fallen in and out of favor with the general fan population. I don't know the details on that, but maybe people don't mind stepping on those toes if that's the case. Yeah, so, yeah. But obviously you always want peace in your world. So
for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's about it. Basketball pairings were huge. Looking forward to TBT, and we'll see what else Let's Rain podcast sort of brings us here in the future. Now, did you hear if they were going to? Is it like a weekly thing, a monthly thing?
I mean, we're like a day. I think we're like a day away from 7 days since it dropped. So
okay.
I'll have to see tomorrow if it pops back up or the day after.
Very nice.
So.
It is. We're recording this July 1st.
Yes.
It is about time where we will strictly be talking, or like 99% of the time be talking football here. And we got some breaking and heartbreaking news out from the football team earlier this week, with Dante out indefinitely with blood clots in his lungs. Okay. Obviously, we're hoping for a full recovery for him, whether he comes back to football or not. But that's still, I mean, heartbreaking for the team and heartbreaking for his future. Is as he was being projected second, third round next year. It's just not the way you want to see the kid go out.
Yeah. No. I mean, there's no guarantee, obviously, that his future's done, but like blood clots is tough. First of all, you're more glad that he called it early.
True.
That he worked with the medical staff. They took care of him. And I saw someone saying that, like, he, talking about he should have went out to draft last year. And I mean, if this was going to happen to him either way, I think he'd rather be at home where they're going to take care of you. Obviously, it's a non-football injury, so I don't know like the extent of the insurance on that. How the school, if the school pays for that, if that comes out of his pocket. But I would assume that, or at least hope and assume that the school will do what they can to help him with that. And you just kind of hate to see that to happen to someone who just obviously haven't met him in person, but like every interaction you see with him, he comes across genuinely him. And you hate to see that happen to like someone who's like a true son of Cincinnati, who like lives and breathes the city and happy to represent. But you also just want to live a healthy life on top of that. Blood clots are no joke.
Yeah, I mean, about like right after I graduated from UC, like so that like 2012, then like the next year, like 2013, I actually had them in my leg. And it was, I mean, the process of reversing that, I do not wish on anybody. It sucks. So I'm sure that Dante is much tougher than I am, and we'll be able to get through that. But it sucks, man. And like I said, beyond his football career, someone that's literally put the kind of the program on his back, and was that going to be that flag bearer for us, or it has been for the past, however many years. Local kid, right? This sucks a whole lot. And I mean, from a football perspective, I know it's way bigger than that, but from that football perspective, it leaves a pretty, quite literally, leaves a large gap in the defensive line, but figuratively one as well. So we'll see if someone.
He's a culture guy too.
Yeah, exactly.
Coach was really lean on him and Fletch to really help transition his team. And that's not going to say he's not going to be around the program, but it's not the same. Mentally, even looking inside yourself, it's not the same. That's hard to deal with for him, hard to deal with for the team. But again, firstly, I hope he gets this under control and lives a healthy life. And if football's over for him for sure, I hope he finds success in whatever he does, and because he deserves to be taken care of. Like I said, he comes across as just a genuine human being.
Yeah.
And someone like that deserves success in whatever they do.
Yeah, I was telling you before we were recording, I was listening to Dan Hoard did an interview with 365 Sports on YouTube, and he must have recorded it like a day or two before the Dante news broke. So they're asking him about Cincinnati taking a leap in year 2, all of the stuff with Satterfield, getting used to his surroundings here, and who's going to be leading that charge for the Bearcats. And of course, Dan Hoard was like, well, that probably starts with Dante Corleone. He's PFF had ranked the number 1 defensive football player a couple years ago, and everything. So unfortunately, we won't get to see him in a Bearcats uniform, at least. I really don't see that happening again, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Crazy things happen. Tough people can work through stuff, but obviously, chances seem slim because they put you on blood thinners and things like that. That really usually eliminates contact sports, but also medicine has evolved and changed. So who really knows? But regardless.
The self injections that you have to sort of take at the beginning, those are the ones that you kind of like psych yourself up for, and you're like, all right, here we go, and then. So yeah, those wishing him a speedy recovery, like we said, sort of just brutal all around.
Yeah.
We're going to get in a lot of more, like I said, a lot more football talk as we go on here. We're just catching up, sort of hitting the highlights that we missed. I was in Clifton today. We had a baby appointment, and every time we do that, we drive by. Drive by Daniels, and you can see this massive structure being built right on campus. That is the indoor practice facility. I know there were some new pictures and stuff that Scott Springer from the Inquirer and some others had tweeted out there, but what do we think about that massive thing that's going to be in Clifton here soon?
It's starting to take shape. They got the beam. Obviously, a few weeks ago the beams were up, but now they're starting to get the roof on. And I mean, that's once that roof's on, they can start getting some more of that internal structure built out and get the walls up. Pointy extra foundation they may need. Go for there, but you love seeing it to start to take a shape, even get a skeleton really going. Because it's a bulk of it's going to be finished this year, and then it's going to be finished up next year, 2025. So that hopefully that should be done. I forgot what the projections are, but I mean, at the speed it seems like it's getting put together. I'm hoping that's done, in the spring next year. Who knows? Maybe there'll be ahead of schedule depending on kind of weather we get. Crazier things have happened.
Yeah. I mean, but just we just stayed on Calhoun, but like right there at the corner where the CVS is, and then like now like where the newer Kroger is, like you can just at that light you can see like there's the crane and everything, of course, but like the structure itself. I was like, dang, I kind of want to drive down there, see what I can see. My wife's like, no, let's go home. I'm hungry. So we we had to go feed the baby.
Yeah.
Or the pregnant lady. So but I will be anxious to see like what that looks like come football season, and how much of it's done. People can kind of like peek in and see that as we're getting ready to tailgate.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I mean, it's taking shape at this point. We'll probably see a good chunk of it. Probably late fall. It's probably going to look like almost like a complete building. I don't imagine. I mean, it won't be, but
yeah,
the vision will probably be at that point where you're just like, yes, okay, I completely see it now. I'm also just a sucker for, construction updates on that thing. So, and sports architecture. So it's just exciting, even when there's like nothing. It's just kind of drip feed. Yeah, I love it. Big 12 Media Days coming up in next week. So just a little bit over a week from today, the 9th, it's going to be held at Allegiant in Vegas. We are taking, obviously the coach is going to be there. Derek Canteen is going. Mason Fletcher, Luke Kandra, and Corey Kyler will also be there.
Should be a good time. Yeah. So in the years past, I played this game with my wife, like while we're watching. It was the American Media Days. I'm sure we were streaming it on Hulu or something when it was on. But I asked her as every coach comes to the podium, like what do you think this guy does if he's not a football coach? And some of the answers she's come up with are hilarious. Like the one that stands out is Holgerson was Houston. She's like, he looks like he smokes cigarettes and is a gas station attendant. I'm like, okay, that's spot on. Absolutely. So I might live tweet those as we watch that, because it's.
I mean, you might get. It sounds like you have your next article on your hands.
Yes. There. Oh yeah, that's good content. Maybe I'll just save it for that. That's funny. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. I always I like to see what people's reactions are to our coach and whatnot.
Scott Satterfield looks like a course pro, or the marshal at a course.
That's funny. That's a good one. I like that. What these just came out here as I was kind of a little ahead of myself here projecting the screen. I thought I just want to ask me one more question before I projected this, but these just came out, Darin. The percentage chance that the Bearcats have to win. These are conference games. These aren't total games. These are conference games. And the number is 3.3 conference games this year. How we feel about that?
I can see where it's coming from, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, while we're improving, I think that the idea remains the same. I know Chad and them, kind of harped on, coin flip games last year, and that really kind of became apparent as the season went on. You could really see the moments where games were won and lost for a few of them, where we were in a lot of games, but then getting crushed in others. And those games we were in, we still didn't win a lot of them. So I think the season's no different. Theoretically, your season is going to be, for Cincinnati specifically, their season is going to be made in their first 5 games.
I really agree with that, and we can save that for another episode, or because we have a lot to talk about in football. But you were, I would probably even argue the first 4 games, but 5 sure. I could get right behind as well. And what that 4th one being Houston, I don't know who the 5th one is.
Well, when I say 5, it's those first 4 are your easiest competition, where you stack up, or at least stack up, and your best cases to win. And those are all just stacked up against each other one after another. But then Texas Tech becomes your, and this is obviously based off of last year's rankings, and the assumption that Houston is improving and we're still better than them. But Texas Tech becomes that first real upper level competition that's above you, because we're projected at 53. Pitt's 55, which is below us, 81 for Miami, 77 for Houston. Texas Tech is your first your first away Big 12 game, but then also it's your first better team.
Right.
So it's just kind of more about the test itself and seeing what we stack up, what we do against them. Maybe who knows? You could be 4-0 going into that and ride momentum and find out how good your team really is at that point. And then before you know, you're 5-0. You could be 1-3. God forbid we lose to Miami again, but it's totally possible. I mean, Gabbard is Gabbard is coming back. That's going to be a veteran quarterback who's seen a lot of football at that point, coming back to a team that he has unfinished business on. Because I'm pretty sure he gets the medical red shirt at that point. So,
just based off of this one projection, I do like that UC plays Houston, Arizona, Colorado, West Virginia, Iowa State. I forget if we play Baylor or not, but all of those teams with less than 5 projected wins. I like that.
Yeah.
Like that bodes well for us, right?
Yep.
5,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the numbers wise, yeah.
Just strictly based off of this one thing.
So
we got just as good of a chance of winning 0 conference games as winning 7. I put a poll out on Twitter. Would you take 7 wins right now, or roll the dice and play the season? Right now, it's pretty clear that we would take the 7 wins and call it a day. But,
yeah, no. I mean, after last season, you want to see improvement. Obviously, the criticism is that's what Satterfield does. He lets you down one season to build you up for a 7-win season. But this is also going to be the most competitive conference in the country. Not necessarily like our top guys can go and beat anybody, but more like it's just going to be such an evenly talented conference against each other. So who really knows? And plus, you don't have to. I mean, not saying 7 wins gets it done, but you don't have to be perfect anymore with the expansion of the playoff. You have to be good, great, even, but good for sure. And I think it's going to be exciting to know that like people's seasons aren't necessarily over with one loss.
True.
I think it's going to make for much more exciting football. Obviously, the downside of that is that can easily be abused, and maybe they're just going to put 5 SEC teams in instead. So it definitely has potential to go wrong. We'll see what they really do and what committee. Does.
We shall see.
But yeah, I could see 3 wins. I could see 8. You just never know. You always know what you're supposed to do, but who knows what really happens? And that's a positive or negative. So, yeah.
Well, like I said, much more football coverage and discussion and debate and pounding my head against the table coming up in the next few weeks. We got some good stuff coming here in football before August 30? Is it August 31st? Is that the first game? I believe Towson coming to town.
Towson, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's August 31st. Almost would bet $1. So more stuff coming up there. The season that really just ended, Darin, was baseball. Ended not too long ago now. It seems like it has been a whirlwind, to say the least, of talent leaving and coming in. I would be lying if I said I've kept track of it all, because I haven't, because it's been a lot. I don't even know where we are right now in terms of baseball, other than I know that people have left and some surprising people has come in as well. So I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, I mean, some guys have headed to summer league at least for summer ball to hone their skills and kind of see where they're at and see if they can improve. And some will come back. Some will, hit the draft. I mean, the idea that we're going to likely lose Josh Cross. We also lost we also took a catcher from Rutgers after losing Alec Jones. So I'm at this point I have faith in Bishop Ball. So weird seeing some contributors leave that aren't going for draft or transferring out. Maybe there was just some money that was thrown around. Apparently, I mean, I don't know if Cross is going to be if someone's throwing the bag at him NL wise, or if he's just going to go test his waters in a draft.
I mean, we had the baseball guru Tim Adams on.
Mm-hmm.
He is still up on everything.
Yeah,
I think he's been sort of like breaking news on some commits coming in that other outlets just don't have access to or see coming or whatever. So again, Tim Adams, who we had on here to give us the baseball season wrap up, he's the dude to follow if you're trying to keep up on UC baseball and the roster and the turnover and everything. That's who I follow to try to keep tabs on it. But like I said, it's been pretty crazy.
Yeah. And then also Texas snagging A&M's coach.
Yeah, that had Twitter in a frenzy. Holy cow.
Bold.
Yeah.
Not a move I would have saw, so I don't know what happened.
It even made that SEC short that you sent me today.
Yeah.
You were talking about it on there. So that was something.
Yeah, congrats to Tennessee though for when pulling out getting a championship. I got two decent friends who are Tennessee grads, so they lived in Cincinnati, so they were riding high. Looks like a national championship to tie together one day, somewhere, somehow,
somewhere in there.
Moving on, Olympics. We had some Bearcat representation. Annette is going to be representing us in the U.S. hammer throw. She was a champion back in 2017 when we were in AAC. Loretta Blout fell short in her trials in high jump, but still a good accomplishment for her because she was coming back from a terrible injury where she probably just kind of assumed she was done and took a 5-year break. And to make it that far into the final day of trials, I mean, not bad for a comeback. She finished 8th on that. So some representation. Started a little UC. But Annette will be there. And hopefully she can bring home the gold. Now her big thing, if you remember, she was supposed to represent Nigeria, and the Confederation messed some stuff up, and so she made that one-time switch to the United States. So glad to have her. Glad to still represent the C, as Butch Jones used to say, and represent the U.S. Are you a big Olympics guy when it comes to summer or winter?
I mean, I've tuned in for like different, like more about the competitors. Mm-hmm. If you're trying to, watch history, Michael Phelps, that the swimming, however many medals he won there. But I mean, I'll tune in. I like some more of the like the oddball events. It seems like they have sometimes. I don't even know the complete list that they have this year. But like curling or whatever, I don't know. I think that's more of a winter sport. Yeah. But there's like some different summer versions of that. Fencing, that's usually an Olympic sport, stuff like that. So I'll tune in a little bit here. Nothing. Volleyball. We have Jordan Thompson on the volleyball team, right? So I'll probably be tuned into that. I don't know, like some of the other big ones, like skateboarding and.
Yeah, so you always have the oddities, which is usually where those sports get their shine. But the interesting thing for me always is the team sports, because those team sport ones usually outside of like whatever organizations like World Games, this is usually like the other big kind of get. It's like basketball and soccer, specifically women's. These are kind of like the other big gets in the game. For men's basketball, women's basketball, there's the FIBA tournaments, obviously. Women's soccer, it's usually the full senior roster, so it's either that or World Cups that both kind of bring you prestige. For men's soccer, you only send like the 23 and under rosters for those, and so it's not as big of a deal for those. So mainly keep my eye on the men's and women's basketball, and then the women's soccer.
The basketball that'll be interesting. They put together a squad with at least a lot of brand names. We'll see what happens there. I looking at the list here. Like I don't even like what is breaking. Look, that's an Olympic sport. No idea what that is.
Is it breakdancing?
Maybe. I don't know what that is. I don't know what. Oh, table tennis. That's fire right there. That would,
a little bit ping pong.
Some of that stuff. We'll see. We'll see what happens here.
Track and field always draws some eyes. Obviously, that's kind of like the generic, because that dates back to like the classic Olympian, concept. Gymnastics, obviously. I watched the finals for that yesterday. Gabby Douglas pulled out of it. Well, she wasn't. She didn't. She pulled out of like the games a few weeks ago. So not the trials, but she tried to make a comeback. But Simone Biles did make a comeback, and she was a lock. You gotta think like she's doing it. Gabby Douglas was 28, trying to make a comeback. Simone Biles is only a year behind her, 27, and making a successful comeback. And I was kind of explaining to my wife the other day. I'm like, what it means to be an athlete has changed. I mean, you gotta think there are sports every 4 years for the Olympics. The sports medicine and training has changed since some of these girls come in the scene. Some of them don't keep up. Simone Biles being one of them. You can be 27 as a 27-year-old gymnast when a sport that used to be like usually like U16, U18 competing as top talents. So for Catholics, just crazy. Moving on to not today. There's been some talk of naming conferences and branding.
It kind of to go along with that as well, like the corporate branding that you can put at midfield as well.
Yes.
Now, obviously, changing the name of the conference for $1 billion or whatever the numbers were, I have mixed opinions on this, or mixed feelings, because one, I'll take the money. Like we like the money.
Yes.
However, I think like the biggest thing that the Big East learned when it essentially became the American and we left that name behind is that name recognition in this country means a lot.
Yeah.
So if you're going to like, I just, that scares me when the idea is to leave the Big 12 name that's been around for so long, and changing it to the All State 12 or I mean, leaving the 12 wouldn't make sense. Leaving the Big would make sense. We're more than 12 now. So like the Big All State Conference is the generic one that's been like thrown around a lot. I want to propose, everyone calls the Big 12 the truck stop conference. Like, how about the Flying J conference or the Sheets conference? Yeah. Let's really double down on that notion and sort of own it.
Because it's amateur sports. Well, it was amateur. It's not really amateur. I mean, I'm sure those rules may change one day. We talked about this when we had the postcast. Kevin Wallace with us a few months back. the sport's changing and amateurism is changing with it. And you can have it where, like, for example, in League MX, there's a university that represents a pro team. Like, the pro team belongs to the university. Like, maybe are standing for them. They're, how do you keep this as a feeder to the NFL? Or if you look at just kind of like smaller leagues of different sports around the world, where, like, like the UK or the United States, like, you only need one sponsorship usually on a shirt for something like soccer or boxing. But, like, other countries, it's like they got like 50 different sponsors over the shorts and the chest piece and whatever. So maybe all the truck stop brands lock them in for the Big 12. Or we take some kind of American name at this point, for the conference. Who knows? It doesn't feel great, obviously, because you see the money, filling the sport, but it's also kind of a necessity.
Yeah.
The kids should have been getting paid all along at this point, because, you're dealing with a $1 billion industry. You're pushing into hundreds of billions industry for football. The pipeline is important from high school, Pee Wee. Like, there is dark money in that to keep the blood of the sport flowing. So it's unsurprising. It doesn't feel great, but you kind of get it.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what Yormark does or what he decides. I'm sure it'll be huge news whenever that decision comes to be about. And if the wheels of conference realignment continue to turn, who knows? It is the first day officially with the new teams going to the different conferences. It looks really funny, especially in like the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Plenty of people's opinions and social media graphics going out, giving Texas and Oklahoma the old "see you later, smell you later" type of thing. But yeah, so we got the four corner schools officially here in the Big 12, and Oregon, Washington, and the USC, UCLA are now part of the Big 10. It all makes sense.
Yeah, it's makes sense, right? It's the first day of all that. The Power 5 now is the Power 4. It feels like. I think they just accepted. I think Oregon State and Washington State are playing. I think they're going to kind of split their breakdown of their sports and some other conferences for the lesser non-money making sports. Texas, obviously Texas and OU were kind of in the SEC was kind of the big one sucking up all the air in the news cycle today. The SEC shorts video you mentioned, I sent you. Always a good watch. They kind of poked fun at that. SMU thumping their chest today, joining the AAC and trying to take shots at the Big 12. I'm like, can you really do that when 3 of the schools that used to beat up on you are in this conference? You're a cash cow. That's kind of really what that was. You pay the entrance fee,
and they're not getting paid, right? Are they still not getting paid?
Yeah, no, they're taking money from them from SMU. Like, SMU paid to be like paid beyond to be there, and they're not going to get a cut. So
that's something. No, good for them. Good for them.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, like, someone made a good point. It's like they didn't need them for football or prestige. They need them for their no votes and dissolving the conference. I'm like, that's a good point. So, Conference USA obviously everyone's everywhere. So everybody put in their graphics today. Some people watched the end of the various networks that were affiliated with schools that were going away, like Longhorn, and then like the network. Kind of watched the programming go up there.
Saw some screenshots of those. Yep.
The last day of the Big Ten map commercial That one's a little sad because that one's been around for like 8 years or so. Hopefully, they just remake it and change it. It's weird they're not changing the numbering on those conferences anymore.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Got to be the thing to change, or it just doesn't even matter, I guess. But it's something. I don't know. We'll see how it works out this year before the next merry-go-round happens again.
Yes, sir. USA U20 losing to the Japan U20 football team.
I thought this was a joke on Twitter.
No, it's not.
I when I first saw it, I was like, they're joking, but they weren't, and they got crushed.
Yeah, they get the snap me down. You're in luck because you happen to be partnered with a person who has this as a very niche and specific hobby of theirs, watching world football. It's been an interest of mine since I was in high school. Fun fact, because I really wanted to go play youth world football. After obviously I played in high school, but also there was a manga called I Shield 21 that was about like Japanese high school football. But one of the concepts was they, at some point, as the story progressed, they were able to play, in a world tournament and stuff like that. So that'd be really cool one day. It turns out there was a thing, and looking that up. So it's kind of been like a niche hobby ever since. Usually the way it went though, because usually back in the day it was just kind of U18. That's kind of that was the cap, really. Was the it was usually USA and Canada almost always in the finals, and Japan was usually like the third best team. That's changed a little bit. Canadian football, obviously, there's a lot of recruits that come out of Canada now for football. If you remember, I asked if there were any Japanese-born players that had made that jump yet. We were talking about Haruka Nakamura, but what I meant was anybody to be actually recruiting body from overseas, because they had been growing growing the game over there as well. Which, fun fact, really has roots all the way back in the 70s at this point. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. So it's not unfamiliar to them. But as the years have gone on, they've expanded the team brackets. So like I said, there used to be like U18 was kind of the big one, the U16, and then U20 eventually popped up for some of the college age kids to play. People may be wondering why we lost in a sport that we kind of tend to dominate, and the simple answer is really it's a talent thing about who goes. Usually the people that we send are either high school students in transition, or like D2 or D3 guys, are guys who need some extra film to send to colleges, who are good enough to potentially play somewhere, but again, that D2, D3 range. So in Japan, like I said, Japan's been developing their. We also lost to Austria today, the bronze medal game, by the way. So there's that. These countries have we've spread the sport a little bit. These countries have developed semi-pro leagues, youth leagues. We got Lorenz Metz playing from a semi-pro team back in the day, or like a club team, I think. So, it exists. In Japan, though, their breakdown is they have obviously high school sports, so they play club sports, usually 3 years for those. The way they play is usually it's kind of like just a year-long tournament, so there is a pretty hostile elimination, and they play in the Christmas game for the high school level. But then there is a semi-pro and there is a college level as well. It used to be that the college level, and there was a New Year's game called the Rice Bowl. Lean into it. If you know for something, lean into it, I guess. Where the best semi-pro team and the best college team would play each other. And just kind of speaking of the talent spread, that used to be pretty even. So it was, why would your pros play against your college kids? But the talent spread was pretty even. That made entertaining games. Eventually, towards the end of it, the semi-pros teams are just running away with it to a point where college teams weren't standing a chance because they were just getting better at the sport overall.
Yeah.
And you may have seen I had a conversation probably last year in the Discord where I showed there was a Japanese team that used our old pants branding.
Yeah.
And they have the old UC Linder Triangles pants branding essentially. And so they're all pretty much old UC uniforms. I mean, they're not, but the Adidas design or Under Armour design essentially for those. So the Frontiers essentially just run the sport over there. So eventually they kind of shifted that game to where the X League, the semi-pro league, pretty much just has it like two best teams play it in a year and they go from there. They're sending their best college kids. We are not sending our best college kids.
Right.
This is essentially what's happening. And then also the Ivy League All-Stars also play in the Dream Bowl towards that sort of combine season where they play against the X League All-Stars. They play their pro All-Stars. We lost that this year. So, and we barely won the year before for that. So, like I said, they've been getting better at the sport. Sort of like how Miami beat us. It's just kind of a matter of time that wasn't going to cut anymore. If people are truly interested in finding out and doing better, you start sending some of those like freshman All-Americans and things like that from your SEC schools, and it's no contest at that point. But yeah, very very rich history and fun little side thing. So thanks for letting me gush about that for a few minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, to sort of tie in football and bring it full circle and talk about golf again.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like Sauce Gardner working on his swing in a lightning storm?
Yeah, you mean Sauce Goffner?
Yeah, he's obviously got the golf bug pretty bad. So I bet he was ridiculed pretty harshly when he came back for that golf outing.
Yeah.
People must have just beat him up and down and just like, so where he just said, forget this, I'm golfing every day until I come back and put everyone to shame.
He seems like one of those guys who just would take that and like, I'm gonna get good at this. He's got the money, he can pay for lessons. I mean, his swing's improved. I mean, he's hitting the ball better than we are probably at this point. But Sauce is, from what I understand, he's like one of those just low-key smart dudes when it comes to competition. Yeah. Like he's just borderline a genius on it. Maybe he just needs a little time to practice. He's really big into the gaming scene too. Call of Duty Warzone. I forgot who mentioned it in an interview. Passively at some point, they said like Sauce used to just be a genius at that game when they were playing it in college. Like he just would tell you what's going to happen before it happens, kind of deal. Wow. I'm not surprised that he's got the golf bug and he's improving rapidly. But don't
love that he's improving. Love that he loves the game. Just get out of the lightning there, good sir.
Yeah.
The Jets are going to need you this year.
That's a pretty well-known cautionary tale not to golf.
Yeah.
In a rainstorm. Have I done it before? Yes. Should I have? No. But I mean, maybe I'm a saddle play because Sad has that golf bug too. Just casually. He was playing with Jason Kelsey a few weeks ago. Yeah. Some other Bearcat legends at some kind of outing. So, hey, maybe that's just how Sat networks too for getting alumni's back and no shame in the game at that point.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah. Not last, but getting towards the end, but also not least, NCAA 25. Whew. Boy,
people have been like, I mean, they're excited for the game. I get it. I'm excited. I actually told my wife the other day, I had a dream that I went to Walmart and I bought a new Xbox and PlayStation and big screen TV. Like, where did that come from if I'm not excited about this game? Because like I have an older Xbox One, so I don't think it's compatible even.
Is it the Like the first Xbox One, like
my little brother gave it to me when he got a new PlayStation. He's like, I don't want this anymore. I was like, well, I'll take it. And he's like, here.
Yeah, you're
So
probably playing Flash gens, yeah.
Yeah. So I apparently subconsciously I need to go to Walmart and buy a whole new setup.
Hey, I mean, depending on what kind of gift cards you got from the baby shower, I mean, maybe there's a little extra. You know,
I don't know how I got in the car. The baby wants it, babe. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Put it in the nursery. You know, so I mean, I may or may not have a new PS5 on the way, so I can have this game on disc. So you're not alone on that. So.
There you go. the rankings and stuff that's come out, like the toughest places to play, the best offensive, like people are they get rowdy about this, like they care about this, like they get like competitive, talk shit about what the video game says. It's pretty funny. Like I didn't think people would be that pumped about it.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the overall offenses, I mean, some of them make sense for the most part. I think what threw people for a loop was Colorado at 89.
Of course, yeah, of course. That's who knows why.
Yeah, it just seems like they kind of pulled back in some stuff that was happening in college football, probably.
Yeah.
Except minus Colorado a few years ago. They just kind of read the news clippings and like, oh, these guys were good, weren't they? Yeah, well, yeah, like 4 years ago for some of these schools. Like Memphis.
The marketing team is not dumb.
Yeah. No, not at all. They got people talking about it. I mean, tomorrow they even have the recruiting deep dive, So that's coming out tomorrow.
Nice.
There's a screenshot they put out already for just like the general recruiting screen. So, yeah, it's people are excited. I mean, the toughest places to play made a little bit of sense than the offense, I think, but not by a lot. My favorite thing that I've seen is what's going to be your dynasty rebuild. Because obviously it goes without saying that you'll probably play like your favorite school, but then like outside of that, what's going to be your fun, challenging, rebuild that you do.
Yeah, that's honestly, like I'll probably have to like scroll through it to look. Like, give me like a team with a cool mascot or something cool about their uniforms that I don't mind looking at for that long of a time. So I don't know, like that'll be fun to pick out. Maybe you just go with someone like Toledo or I don't know, keep it Bowling Green, someone keep it local or something. Who knows?
Well, some people have use that little tier system template. This one guy has it broken down. So cool G5 hipster dynasties, which are like things like Appalachian State, the UAB Blazers, ECU, Eastern Michigan. So like, those are gonna be like your real like challenging like teams, and then they got the possible fun P4 long shots, which we are a part of that group.
Yeah,
which I get it. We're kind of bottom of the conference last year. They got Wisconsin in there, BYU. So just sort of like the mid tier. The talent can be accumulated quickly, but they're still not the top of the conference. It's almost like one of those like total gut job versus very hard MAC jobs. Cool playbook, which has like Army and the Chanticleers and UCF. They have moved the school to a new league, which is Washington State, Oregon State, Hawaii, Memphis, Tulane. My favorite is a bit weird, but you do what you want, which is like Vanderbilt, Virginia Tech, Northwestern, Nebraska, Rice, and then there's just Iowa by itself. And then
do you not like to score points? Do you? Are you really good at kicking field goals?
Field goals will be kicking supposed to be harder this time. There's supposed to be some challenge to it now. Is the idea?
Okay.
So it's not automatic anymore. We're getting like a 45 level kicker and still make them. The last rankings they have You Are the Police, which is who you would assume Bama's and OSU's. And it's not really a rebuild. You're just kind of playing a game on easy mode at that point.
Steamrolling everyone.
Yeah,
trying to.
My last one was I played Road to Glory as a running back to Vanderbilt because I thought that'd be fun to kind of try to lead them as a player to to prominence. Won 2 national championships.
There you go.
2 Heismans. There used to be a bug where you couldn't win the Heisman like 2 years in a row consecutively. Like especially if you won a freshman. Yeah. So I'm excited to see that, which they have the branding for the Heisman, but they didn't get a lot of branding for the other awards. So there's not like a Ryan or Blitnikoff or anything like that. Just best wide receiver or quarterback or best offensive player or something like that. So, yeah. It
will be exciting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. The last thing that you have here, I'm kind of I'm very anxious to see what where you're taking this direction here. It says your favorite new Twitter follows.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that. What's that about?
And just some things that were slightly Bearcat related.
Okay.
There's a Daily Bittering, which is our Daily Bearcat, where it's just videos of the majestic mascot that we all know and love. Mostly a lot of Japanese accounts, I think, that they retweet. But I think you retweeted me the other day where I put one that was in the rain. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there is one that I think UC Century one that popped up. Someone did like a little rebrand where they do big plays and then nip. So that's nice. They just kind of do a big play a day from seasons past. So that's a nice little hit of nostalgia every once in a while, or excitement. I told them that they were having a really
here it is.
Good rebrand. Yes.
Yeah, get it. Taking a shower.
I think it was just pouring rain, but I was just kind of like, I feel this.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But yeah, it's the other one's big. I think it was like big nip plays or something like that, or something of that nature. So like I said, that's just a nice little few hits of in the brain, hit the dose just right.
Now,
yeah.
What is this trend that I have no idea. The best spam.
Yeah, so like if you follow that, like if you just click into like the quote tweets, like if you click into New Mexico and then they quote somebody like, and then like actual college.
Oh, this is off the okay.
So like people just started like as it got more ridiculous.
BYU tweeted the chocolate milk, didn't they?
Yeah, tweeted chocolate milk. I think once someone started talking about snap pea or jalapenos or whatever that was, and then you saw Masubi. It was just lights out.
Yeah, that's funny.
If you haven't spam Masubi, by the way, it's pretty good. Obviously, it's trash meat, but pretty solid actually. Fried spam and a rice, wrapped in seaweed, good stuff. But yeah, it just made me laugh. Everybody just kind of getting their licks in. Every once in a while, you just get like a trend that just all of college football just kind of gets in on, and it's just kind of like a day of harmony. So it's fun seeing stuff like that.
That's funny. That is funny. I think we're caught up, Darin.
Yeah, we're caught up.
It's kind of like when you get home from an actual road trip, you come in, you got like a fat stack of mail. You got to make sure that the house isn't damaged and whatnot. I think we're all caught up on everything that we missed, and we just have the future to look forward now. But that was a heck of a wrap up there.
Are you done?
So I don't think I have anything else, Darin. You have anything else?
No, I mean that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, we will be back next week. We'll see what next week brings us as we move further into July, and we're already single digit Saturdays away from UC college football at least. So we will jump on that as well. So I'm out of beer. I need a new one. I will leave you with how I always do, Darin. Cheers, go Bearcats.
Cheers, go Bearcats.
I'll see you, brother.
See you.